forth in a way that was somehow merry, despite coming from a tiny blood-sucking monster. I think you missed. She rocketed forward with peak bronze-length speed, almost bowling him over as she threw her arms around him, gripping him like he was a security blanket. Colin was knocked away, deftly caught by Shay. Jason felt her whole body tremble as she sobbed into his shoulder. He said softly, gently placing her arms around her.
Enemy force detected.
After a bronze-rank spirit point, a recovery potion, Jason's third last life was most of the remaining air ornament and the surprisingly proficient haircut of Shay. Farah was looking more like herself. Not exactly what he remembered, with the jeans, blouse, and jacket, but a lot closer than her recollection of him. Her own clothes were long gone. Her stone chest dimensional space was her human racial gift, tied to her Earth essence, and would have been empty anyway, even if she could access it. Jason had removed its contents a year earlier. Jason hadn't had the presence of mind to courage for her. Shay had taken the initiative to within sight, leading the appropriate action until the shock took her. They sat on the edge of a big legs dangling at the side. She leaned against the wall, reassured by the physical signs. How long? She asked. A year? You have no idea. Luckily, you have plenty of time for me to explain it all. Also, quite a lot of opportunities. Oh yeah, ready? Oh, all right. Jason said, realization dawned. Farah, this astral space isn't attached to your world. It's attached to mine. That was your world. Yeah. You didn't realize it was a different reality? I was told. Spent almost every moment conscious of throwing. You got back then? Yeah. Look, we should really get moving. There'll be more time for explanations on the way home. We're on the wrong side of the
Concentrate
planet.
fire on the designated target.
Jason had experienced an oddly emotionless clarity in the moments after his own thought-setting activity. But when the emotions finally came, they crashed down like a tsunami. He wanted to get around the space and pass the inevitable network attention before it all caught up with her. He suspected that Farah was mentally stronger than him, but there was no avoiding the aftermath of the trauma she had suffered. In his case, it had been months before he came up for air. He got to his feet and helped her to her. They had only just set off when he sensed a large number of orders spreading out into space, some of which he recognized. Looks like the bad guys unsealed the aperture that was securing the central space, he said. We're about to run into some people, but they're out. I'll get us past the network's platoon technical leader, Karen Espinosa, was leading the team through the astral space after the inhabitants unsealed it and rushed out. She paused and a cluster of corpses, these both desiccated and black and rock, with their hair under the colors of his grey hair. A second asked, "Did you seriously do this alone?" This environment is probably as good for him as it is bad for us, Espinosa said. The more extreme the location, the less effective the works practice. And we advocate for expansion to our tactical doctrine for years, as a continued position across all of the branches. We're far too reliant on conventional military-derived tactics. What do you start with 25? It's for change. Yes. Imagine if we could all fight like this. Category 3 monsters can soak up a lot of damage. Really more reliant on our weapons, which is what we do right now. Thus far, we basically been controlling the we may have well control for confusion. They continue to clear the space around the atmosphere to secure the future, as exploring the kilometers of space within would take considerable time. They encountered Asano as he was on his way back into the aperture, falling out ahead to avoid friendly fire. You found her, Espinosa said. That's mission accomplished for you. Thanks for doing most of ours along the way. I was in the neighborhood, Jason said. Delanne will want to debrief her, Espinosa said. I don't much care, to be honest, Jason said. She's done being beholden to network personnel. Farah's eyes took in everything as Shay drove them through Lyon. The magical carriages were back from the conversation, she said. The ones that don't fly. Please don't use much. You know, we all thought you were talking nonsense about your world and what could be done without magic. Wait till you see the plane, Jason said. She turned to look at him. Can I use the power? Sure, he said. So if you want to know what it is, we'll accept it. It's you, Jason said. I don't need to. She looked at him in silence for a long time. You changed, she said. You were so skittish back then. You did it well, but scratched the surface and there was nothing. We have a mythical warrior in our world who used his fear as a weapon, turning it on his enemies. He's this super rich guy that dresses up like a bat and goes around punching. That sounds like a terrible myth. He has special boomerangs. I don't see how that works. Well, if you take this stance with Batman, I'm not going to try explaining Zatanna's pants situation. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's good.
He said, leaning into his eyes. Jason inwardly croaked, and he kept self-controlling on his foot. It essentially growled his foot or dramatically driving away. His goal was to lead the strange to the world, distracting her at least until they were home. Then she would have time to stick with what she'd been through, and hopefully she gets nothing. So, about that time, she said, go for it. James the one driving. She said, marriage is ability, powerful. It enhances some of your abilities with the duration of the book, and with Farah Hewitt access to your knowledge. This is restricted to your knowledge of concepts external to yourself. This ability cannot read your thoughts or access your knowledge of yourself. Power bond can be rejected or ended at any time by you. If you do not implicitly trust Farah Hewitt, this ability will fail. Subconscious distrust will prevent this power from working. Jason was extremely curious about the new outworld powers replacing Farah's human ability, but was wary of conversation drifting into yet his own strange authority as well. You have been affected by power connecting you to Farah Hewitt. You may end this connection at any time. So that power lets you gain knowledge? Yes, she said. It should glean certain amounts of knowledge from someone based on what they're thinking about, but not their actual thoughts. How does it work? I'm just going by instinct here, Farah said. I'm thinking back to when we met you and learned your name. You said that every outlander gets a power that is to their new world. I think this is mine. Tapping into the knowledge of someone's trust and turning it into my guide. Try focusing your skill. I can do that. Jason said. He considered for a moment, thinking of common aspects of his work. After looking around, he picked cards. He concentrated on the idea of and Farah's eyes immediately went wide as she jolted in her seat for a few seconds. Are you alright? Jason asked, as the fit passed. I know, she said, although she looked exhausted. So, do you know about the powers now? I think we can benefit from the needs of skill. Although I'm not so sure. The difference seems to be that skillful gives specific and specialized human skills, while this ability gives more of an overview. I understand what powers are and how they operate more or less. There's a lot of peripheral information that doesn't make sense. And well, I get a lot more knowledge. There is a lot to learn. Jason said, contemplating it. While Farah was exultant in his secret. She said unsteadily, I should be judicious in what I want to learn because I can only do that so. Agreed, Jason said. Essentials first. Do you really consider the essential? Farah asked. I'm not even clear on what the
Torpedoes
vision
to port.
is exactly.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
Oh, it's the same thing. Jason. It's starting to come up as well.
Waterline. We're flooding quickly.
Farah was astounded by the plane, promptly learning about them from Jason. It left him worried about his own rather sketchy understanding of aerodynamics. If she was going to be learning about his world from him, she might end up with some strange ideas. Following her initial outburst of emotion when they first met, Farah had shown almost no signs of distress over what she had gone through. This started to worry Jason as they boarded the private plane into the skies. It was just the two of them, plus the pilot, co-pilot, and one captain who had apparently been instructed to be assigned to the topic. After the plane settled into its flight, Farah took Jason's advice and moved into the sleeping cabin.
The ship is on fire.
Unguarded in her slumber, Jason felt the brutal nightmares of her thoughts. Chapter 55. Full Houseboat. Jason had his own unfortunate experiences with how Essence users dealt with extreme trauma following periods of captivity. In the time he had spent recovering, he had learned a lot from the priest of the healer and Rufus' mother, Arabelle Lenore. In the weeks he had spent receiving their care, they had elucidated how the response and recovery of Essence users tended to go. Essence users went through their own variation of shock compared to normal people whose souls had not been magically reinforced. Following the trauma, Essence users gained a grace period, where their minds were stabilized by their souls. It was defense mechanism that gave them the chance to seize a critical moment and escape their certainty. The price of all this was that once the grace period had passed, their souls were in a recovery state. Their powers were negatively affected, and their mental state crashed, leaving them both fragile and vulnerable. Jason had experienced this himself, and it was not long into the first leg of their return to Australia that Farah experienced that crash for herself. Jason knew that there was little he could do for her at the moment other than keep her safe. He didn't disembark when the plane stopped to refuel, remaining outside the sleeping cabin like a royal guard dog. Only once he got her somewhere that she felt truly secure could she set out on the long path to recovery. What that would look like, Jason was unsure. He didn't have access to experienced professionals like Arabelle or Carlos, the priest of the healer that had helped him. He snorted a laugh at the irony of him, of all people, being disappointed in the lack of a priest. Jason didn't bother waiting for the flight to reach the train, portaling directly off the plane to a blank-faced family. The interior of the houseboat managed to rouse a reaction as she looked around at the bright sunset colors. She could sense the presence of his sister and her family, but didn't announce his presence until after the meeting. Yes, Jason said. I won years with a podcast. Sure did, Jason said. We have a lot to catch up on. I'm sorry I won't be able to help you with what Arabelle did. Rufus is not. How much did I miss? I can't wait to tell you all about it. Jason said. Let's get you settled in the room and make it some. Jason glanced through the window at the bright blue sky. His phone had been lost in the plane explosion, and after getting across the world and back, he didn't even know what time it was. What he guessed, based on the day outside. Now that Farah was secure, Jason's next concern was her recovery. Even if he found the local storm calculator struck, anyone who already knew about magic would still have a lot of catch-up to do, and would come from one of the local nations. Jason didn't trust the network or Cabal to not view Farah as an opportunity rather than a victim, even if they did have the qualified stuff. Jason could find an unaffiliated specialist himself, but there was no way to help Farah properly without inducting that person into the secrets of magic in alternate universes. That was both problems with traumatizing his new trauma